My sister-in-law's wedding happened in a little river. I mean, in the river, in the water. The minister, bride, who's my husband's sister, and groom stood on a little strip of land so they were not wet, but all the attendants were expected to stand in knee-deep rushing water for the whole ceremony. I'm sure it made for great photos, but I dislike mud, germs, insects, and whatever diseases are found in that stream. The kids who couldn't easily stand in the water that might be as tall as their whole body were left in ankle-deep water nearby with a couple of older women. When I refused to move my shoes and socks and pull up my dress pants, my husband offered that I stay with the kids. I said no, I refuse to walk into that water, even if it's just ankle-deep. Apparently most people there knew about the water thing, but I didn't. My husband knew, but claimed he forgot to tell me. The ceremony could have easily moved forward with me standing on the shore just a few feet away from the kids, but no. The bride and groom apparently refused to start until every person was in the water, and my husband waded in the water back and forth between his sister and me to mediate. My husband was becoming visibly angry at me the longer it went on, and kept acting like I was in the wrong. The bride and groom eventually relented and the ceremony went on, delayed by maybe 30 minutes. In the after party, I felt like I was being avoided by everyone else, including my husband. That was nearly 2 weeks ago. My husband was stone-faced and refusing to talk to me about it, or about anything at all for several days, and when he started talking again, he refused to address the wedding beyond telling me that I humiliated him in front of his family and he refuses to talk about it any longer. Things like, "I will get really angry if you keep bringing up this topic. Put it to rest and I will try to forget what you did." But I feel like I did nothing wrong. I feel blindsided because if I'd been told in advance what the wedding entailed, I'd have faked a stomach bug and not attended the damn thing at all. Am I the idiot? Edit. As I understand it, that detail was made known to guests beforehand. My husband knew. He claimed that he forgot to tell me about it. My husband and his sister were the ones planning things. I just followed along for the ride and was blindsided by the water thing. When the ceremony started, everyone around me casually started undressing and getting into the water without a fuss, so I suspect they all knew and had consented in advance. I was the only one or one of the few guests who wasn't made aware of it in advance. My husband didn't pack any extra clothes for himself. He was fine being a bit wet. It was a hot day and he's not the kind of person to care about being dirty. Towels were provided by the hosts. OMG, I think this is the absolutely most backcrap crazy wedding theme or whatever idea this was supposed to be that I've ever heard. Sweet Jesus in a manger standing in a river to get married. Not the idiot, but your husband and his family are. In a river, huh? Wow, just wow. Your husband is a massive idiot for not telling you in advance, and the couple are massive idiots for refusing to go on without you in the water. Don't feel guilty. This is on them, mostly your spouse, and not on you. Sorry, but it's such an unusual request to make of wedding guests that there is no way they forgot to tell you. They just hoped you would fall in line. On top of that, they should have had your back, not tried to negotiate you into an uncomfortable position, especially publicly. I love the water, but at a wedding wouldn't stand in moving water through a ceremony for photos. Maybe it was a group baptism too? That was my first thought. Having a ceremony in a river is an extremely out-of-the-norm thing. There's absolutely no way he forgot such an absurd thing. He knew OP would refuse, maybe even refuse to go, if the bride and groom wouldn't compromise. And he thought, I know, if I don't tell her and we just rock up and OP finds out, the pressure of holding up a wedding will be enough to force OP into doing it. Peer pressure will win out here. Exactly, the sister was never going to compromise. She'd rather put her wedding on hold for half an hour while trying to force a guest into a river than just let it go. So he decided it was easier to just manipulate and pressure OP. It sounds like some weird damn power trip. I mean, the bride and groom weren't getting in the river, but they wanted their guests to do it. They were angry. Did someone say napes on those grapes? Just a bizarre request. I don't understand why everyone is saying not the idiot. Like, yeah, you don't have to, but it's only, 20 minutes of a living nightmare and then you can dry off and continue like normal. This is the family you married into. Some sacrifices have to be made to keep the peace. Is it always your way or the highway? I'm going to say you are the idiot just because having a relationship with others means giving in sometimes. And being stubborn when it literally won't hurt you at all is not a good trait. Also, you could have just left and waited in the car, rather than contributing to causing a scene. Update, am I the idiot for refusing to get wet for my sister-in-law's wedding? Clearing up some misconceptions, I'm a man, my husband and I are a gay couple. Towels were provided, but no way to wash your feet from the mud and germs. A lot of guests had to change their clothes. Some removed part of their outfits and put the lower bits back on after drying themselves, and others decided to get wet and remain in wet clothes. But the bride and groom didn't expect everyone to stay wet all evening. The level of the water keeps getting higher and higher in the comments, so to be clear, it wasn't that deep. From where I stood, I could see women up to their knees or lower thighs for the smaller ones, and to taller guests it reached their shins. I'm 5'2", so I would have been deeper than shin level. I didn't see anyone fall into the water or even seriously stumble, so the fears of guests not knowing how to swim are misplaced. My husband knew about this requirement in advance, as he coordinated with his sister, and he claims it was a mistake that I wasn't made aware until the day of. He's accepted blame for failing to inform me, which is not in question, but he remains upset about the whole event. I don't know his exact feelings on the topic beyond the fact he accused me of humiliating him in front of his family. He refuses to actually discuss and get closure. I wanted to hear from him a form of apology for getting outwardly angry at me but not at his sister when I felt like I was being reasonable. He was getting agitated whenever I tried to discuss it, so now we don't discuss this topic. My husband still talks to me overall, he's calmed down, he acts pretty much normal day to day, and he's even affectionate. He wants this topic to be buried and not addressed again. Well, I feel very frustrated because I feel like I was treated unfairly and then blamed wrongly. His family will definitely remember me as the troublemaker and probably think I'm a disrespectful person, and I'd like my husband to acknowledge that I was done dirty and to defend my reputation in front of his family. I admit fault in that I could have walked away and waited in the car. In retrospect, the bride and groom wanted me in the water because I was the only person on the shore and it was not as picturesque. They should have communicated that, but I should also have understood it. Even if not, it would have been the more mature thing to do, remove myself from the situation so the ceremony could go on and the photos could be as pretty as the couple wanted them to be. Thanks to reasonable people like you, posting my story has been a very positive and constructive experience. I, 32 male, live in an apartment complex with a pool. There's no active lifeguard or anyone really monitoring it like most apartment pools. On Saturday, my boyfriend and I went to hang out at the pool around 2 p.m. We get there and it's packed like way too packed. I knew this couldn't all be residents. There were maybe 25 to 30 Hispanic people with beer, glass bottles of models as well, double rule break, with the alcohol and glass. Loud music, and they were also using both of the grills on the patio. After investigating further, it looked like one of the small families that I'd seen around the complex was having a birthday party for their kid. Our complex technically has a rule that all non-residents must be checked in at the office to use the pool, but there's no way they enforce this, and nobody really pays attention to that rule. But a whole idiot birthday party? The entire pool was filled with kids. It doesn't specifically say no parties, but it says to respect other spaces and not hog items like the grills, hot tub and umbrella tables. My boyfriend and I tried to lay out in the corner, but it wasn't working. After another couple told us how displeased they were with this party too, my boyfriend suggested we say something. We left, stopped by the front office and told them about the party. About an hour later, we started seeing all of them leaving the pool. It looked like the party was shut down. This morning, we got a note on our door from the hosts of the party. I don't know how they knew it was us or what unit we lived in, but that's beside the point. The note called us idiots for what we did and now said they're under a lease review where the office could decide to evict them. So they thanked us for potentially getting a poor small family kicked out. I said we weren't the only ones who had a problem, and if we didn't do it, they would have eventually gotten caught. I also told them that whatever happens is their fault for blatantly breaking the rules. Am I the idiot? This is one of the grey areas. Legally, you are all right. Morally, you had so many options. You could have talked to them. You didn't. Instead, you put in an official complaint. Housing is a nightmare. You've given them more to worry about. Why did you specify Hispanic? What does it have to do with the issue? I don't see what the ethnicity of the party had to do with the situation at all. You are the idiot. Mexican here, I do not see the post as racist at all. It is as if in my neighborhood there's a giant party of 30 Americans here in Mexico. It's something I'd probably just mention, no need to be racist to just mention, damn, the place was packed with like 30 Americans. How the heck is that insulting? Housing is a nightmare right now, you've given them more to worry about. I wouldn't do anything to rock the boat and draw negative attention to myself from my landlord if I supposedly cared about my housing. If you're a bad tenant, this is how you get on a landlord hit list and make your tenancy difficult, and expose yourself to consequences. Why jeopardize your living arrangement? So throwing a pool party for a kid is risking losing your house? Damn, it would have just been one afternoon. I feel not only bad for the guests and parents, but also for the kids. A few years ago, my neighbour's kid was having a loud idiot party with fireworks which are not legal, etc. I went over instead of calling the police. She was celebrating her 18th. Let her know that since she's now a legal adult, fireworks are very illegal, and she would be held liable but to proceed to have fun. Are the neighbours inconsiderate? Yes. Is it inconsiderate to ruin a child's birthday? Yes. For one day by the pool. Just one day. People suck. By people, I mean you, OP. Just one day? Get a permit or talk to management if you want to throw a party that's going to take up nigh the entire pool area. OP has a right to enjoy the community pool too. A notice that says the pool will be closed from 1 to 4 on Saturday for a private party would have been no skin off anyone's back. Not the idiot. They broke the rules and inconvenienced other residents wishing to use the facilities they had paid for. It's their problem. I, 28 female, started dating my girlfriend Amy, 26 female, around 10 months ago. We live away from most of our family members and have little interaction with them because we're both going through residency. Amy's brother Seth, 30 male, is a single father. He was in town for a work event and left his daughter Mary, toddler, with us for a few hours. He was late and already in a hurry, therefore it was just a stop-by visit and I was the only one home for the day since Amy was at the hospital. I admit I haven't been around children much in my entire life and I have almost no experience outside of hospital settings, back when I was just a med student for entertaining a child. While we were painting, I gave Amy a bit of our homemade cake. After she had some, I realised she was having an allergic reaction. So I got her first aid kit, gave her a shot and she immediately got better. I then took her to the hospital to recheck everything. I told her father via text since he wasn't picking up. Thankfully, there were no issues at all. Later, when I explained the situation to Seth, he was furious. He said I should have asked him or Amy about Mary's allergies because I was staying with her alone. I said I needed to be warned about this because this was sudden and out of the blue, and Mary's nut allergy wasn't something Amy had told me about. She'd been at the hospital for 30 hours when Seth left Mary with me, so she clearly wasn't being her 100% self. It simply never came up. Seth called me an ignorant workaholic woman who didn't care about family and left. Amy thinks I'm right and that he should have told me, but she also thinks it's pretty common to ask about allergies while babysitting children. I simply assumed if there was something I needed to know, Seth would tell me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. It's his responsibility to tell people about his kids' allergies. If he's too busy to properly care for his child, he should at least get her a medic alert bracelet or something. And don't let him make you feel guilty. Seth is passing the buck on responsibility. It's the parent's responsibility to disclose all necessary health information to their caregiver. You sound like a great caregiver as well. You kept her entertained and responded to medical crisis with professional level competency. Seth was lucky to have you looking after his daughter. Seth failed to disclose. Seth failed to answer his phone. Side note, if this were ever to happen to me, thankfully my kids don't have known allergies as of yet, I would feel so awful for putting you through something that could be deemed traumatic, and I would be so grateful to you for acting quickly and decisively to ensure my child got the care they needed. So kudos to you. I have one picky eater that just graduated middle school, so next year he'll be a high schooler. Before, if we were going somewhere and there was no food he liked, I would pack nuggets or something he would eat. Honestly, I'm sick of it. I can't force him to eat something, but I've decided not to help him anymore. He's old enough that if he's going somewhere, he can check what there is there, and if he doesn't like it, then pack a sandwich or just suck it up and eat something there. So that's what I'm doing. When I told him he wasn't happy, the first time we went to a graduation party, he didn't pack anything and didn't want any of the food there, so he went hungry. He did the same thing today and didn't pack anything, so at our aunt's, he went hungry. He told everyone in the family what I was doing, and now everyone is angry I'm not feeding him. Am I the idiot? He's old enough to pack food or just eat something there. Not the idiot. No one is going to starve to death at a party. He can eat in advance, choose something offered there, or, worst option, bring his own food. I do think you need to be taking action to help him improve the situation. It could be anything all the way from toddler-level strategies to expanding his food menu, all the way up to having him work with a therapist who specializes in food aversion. You are the idiot. Walk him through it. Don't just tell him. The pieces of planning ahead, packing his food for an event, and adding anything he needs to the grocery list a couple of times. Baby steps make this something he can comfortably take on as an adult skill, rather than, "I'm tired of your issues, you're on your own," which is honestly the vibe I'm getting here. Food insecurity is a huge anxiety trigger that is going to make him less flexible and less able to think and plan these things out. I don't know. I don't understand this phenomenon. Picky eaters' preferred choice is chicken nuggets. I'm mystified. Processed cubes of chicken. Every day? Is it the texture, the taste, or the compactness? Or is it the fear of growing up? Just baffling to me. Sometimes kids need a rude wake-up call so they know the consequences. Continuing to baby him will lead to more whining. It's not like his kids are going to pack him food forever. Kids with medical reasons for avoiding foods will start managing their own diets at his age. It's a critical adult life skill to ensure you have something to eat when you anticipate needing food. You are not the idiot. He's old enough to remember things that are important to him.